So now let me first welcome Nicole Quiroga. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you, David.
So Nicole, let me just talk a bit briefly about your background. You are a native of the Washington, D.C. area, graduate of the University of Maryland. You've done some executive education work at the Kennedy School at Harvard. And for about, I guess, 20 years or so, you were at Telemundo. And then about 3 years ago, you became the head of the Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Is that more or less correct?
That's exactly correct.
Okay. So for those people who are not familiar with the Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, tell us what it does.
Of course, and thank you. The Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is 750 members strong and was founded in 1976, basically caters to our small business community and helps our small business community with the assistance they need, technical assistance, training, direction, networking, connections, access to contracts, and access to capital.
Okay, and you have how many members?
So we have 750 members, and basically a third of them are entrepreneurs and startup companies, a third of them are small and medium businesses, and a third of them are the corporations and organizations that want to engage with our community.
Okay, so what are the biggest challenges that the Hispanic business community has right now?
So right now, well, I'll speak to the Chamber's challenges and then also the Hispanic community, but I think they're going to be similar in that sometimes people don't understand or don't know the information about how the Hispanic business community impacts the economic development of our region. And once they do have that information, they can see how relevant we are. But what we work hard every day is to really educate everybody to see what our importance is, what our relevance is, so they can engage and make the community better.
Okay, now what has been the impact of COVID-19 on the Hispanic business community in the Washington area?
Well, it's been, it's actually a bit negative. We actually wanted to get good, strong data. So we partnered with American University Center on Latin and Latino Affairs and also the Kogod Business School. And we found that Latinos suffer the most infections and the most job losses due to the pandemic. The other problem is that, so please go ahead.
Why was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, because in large part, it's because the work that they were doing was in construction, in retail, restaurants, hospitality, and in these spaces, social distancing was very hard to enforce at the time. And so that ran through our community as such. The other issue, one thing I wanted to share is our businesses before the pandemic, Hispanic businesses were opening at a rate of 50 times faster than any other group. But now we're closing at a faster rate than any other group. And that is also due in large part to the fact that we're coming out of a 10-year climb to financial security because of the downturn in the economy over the last 10 years. So we don't have as much liquidity as maybe other businesses do. And therefore that's, it's another factor of us shutting down during this pandemic.
Okay. So in the Washington area, what are the biggest Hispanic-owned businesses, if you can say? Which ones are the largest that I would know of or that members might know of?
Sure. Well, we have a few construction businesses, and some of them thankfully sit on our board as well, and they're supporting us. Windmark Construction, Fort Myer Construction. We also have federal contractors like Cascade Technologies, Microtech, LMI. All of these are Hispanic businesses that started from scratch and rose to success.
Are they first, second generation? Are the Hispanic businesses in this area first generation, second generation, third generation Hispanic owners?
Sure, they're a mix of both. I mean, it really depends on the story of each family and where they're coming from. But for the most part, they're first and second generations. We're starting to see first generation parents starting to age and second generation starting to take over their businesses. And the oldest Hispanic restaurant in the area, El Tamarindo, if anyone wants to eat some good pupusas, is a great example of that story. First generation parents came over, and now second generation is running the restaurant.
Okay, so your own background is your family came from Bolivia and Colombia. You were born here, but your family there. In the Washington, D.C. area, the Hispanics that are here, is their ancestry more from Mexico, Central America, Latin America? How would you break it out?
Well, right now the top three groups are El Salvador, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. And so, this is what what you're looking at our region. And we have certain pockets, right, with different people from different countries, but those are the three major, the highest density that we find in the region.
So if you were, let's suppose you came to the Washington, D.C. area and you started a business and you came from Mexico or some Latin America, Central America, and you only speak Spanish, can you operate a business in this city only speaking Spanish? I just don't know. Can you?
You can, and it happens quite a lot. You know, there are ways for us to maneuver through the system, but I will say that it's more difficult for sure. And it offers an opportunity to organizations, especially moving forward, to ensure that they communicate with our community in their language of choice, but more so, not so much in their language, but culturally sensitive. And so yes, you can operate a business. It does present its complications. But I will tell you that as the generations move forward, most of the business owners are not just Spanish dominant, they are bilingual.
Okay. Now, in the Washington greater area that you cover, I know you deal with things other than just business, but what's the size of the general Hispanic population? And what's the size of it relative, let's say, the African American population? Is it larger, smaller?
Well, we're a bit smaller, but right now, just to give you some numbers, we just broke 1 million in the region, 1 million Hispanics in the region, and 70,000 businesses in the region as well. So we definitely have an impact in the economy. And to put it, you know, on a national level, there's 60 million Latinos that are accounting for $2.3 trillion of economic activity, and 4.7 million Latino-owned businesses that are employing 3 million people and contributing more than $700 billion to our economy.
Right. So you used the word Latino. What is the difference between Hispanic and Latino? Is there a connotation difference in one?
There's not. There's not anymore. It used to be that it was a bit different, and that Hispanics, the term Hispanic actually included people from Spain and outside of Central and South America, but now they're equally usable and interchangeable. So there's. I see.
All right. Businesses that you that represent, you have 750 members. What percentage are women? What percentage are men?
Oh, that's a great question. It's actually 51-49. You can believe that.
Which
and
way?
Another thing is, before the pandemic, I mentioned that we opened businesses faster than any other group, and I'll qualify that by saying women business owners, women Hispanic business owners actually beat men Hispanic business owners in opening their businesses.
Well, many minority-owned businesses, Hispanic-owned ones, are thought to be really hurt by COVID-19 because they are small businesses and they've had to, you know, say, shut down and so forth. They might not reopen. Is that a big problem that you think many of these businesses will not come back?
Well, it is a big problem because here's what the issue is, that many of our businesses actually don't have Latinos as their primary consumer. They have everybody in the community, and so as we go down, the economy will be very negatively affected. And so, yes, it is a problem. And as I mentioned before, a little bit of that problem is that, you know, we're tremendous business owners and we grow quickly, but we're coming out of that 10-year economic downturn and trying to build our business. So the level of liquidity we have is limited.
Okay, so let me ask you a final question. What can the Washington business community or the Economic Club of Washington do to help your Chamber of Commerce? What can we do, if anything?
And I appreciate that. Well, what I would say is, first of all, please come and become members and be part of our community. I have to say that Latinos in our community are growing in numbers, will succeed in opening more businesses when we get out of this, because the Chamber is supporting them and helping them. But we need you to become members, support our community, understand us, and ultimately know that if you do that, our community will make your company more successful by being your employee, by being your consumer, by being your partner, and we'll all financially succeed.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And I appreciate your coming today, and good luck to you with your activities. If we can help, let us know.
I appreciate that. Thank you, David.